In this conversation, I'm joined by Troy Kinne and also Lehmo. Lehmo's done the most Forces Entertainment trips of any Australian performer. We have a chat about what it's like to go from the outside to the inside of this world to figure out our weird humour. So we're trying to dig out, like, does these traumatic experiences make you funny?
Sure.
That's kind of the whole thing.
Or does humour help you cope with the traumatic experiences?
That's what we're slowly figuring out along the way.
Yep.
Do you have any insights on that? What do you think? What do you think
Absolutely.
it is? Yeah. What do you think it is?
100%. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my mates who were in the army, we were talking to some guy yesterday who was blown up in Afghanistan, and he just decided last minute not to drive his vehicle forward because some guys were metal detectoring along the way. His mates missed the bomb, by the way. And he, like, every Anzac Day, he's like, they're like, you know, it's a big joke between them. He was just laughing about it. Like, it's the worst day of this guy's life. And he just, like, gets through it by joking and all the rest of it. So
I've heard the commando boys before talking about a particular mate saying he's just a magnet for bullets. Like, here's a guy who would be in a base and a bullet would find its way somehow through a fucking tree, through all this other shit. And he'd just be sitting down reading a paper and it would hit him. Like, it's just an absolute bullet magnet.
When I was, my last year in the army, I got to carry one of the guys off the plane who got killed in Afghanistan from when the Afghan National Army were, like, just shooting the people who were training them. It was, like, a big deal over there. And 3 guys were killed, but a whole bunch of guys were injured, including one of my really good mates, Bakes. And he comes home, he got shot in the side. And I'm like, oh, what happened? Were you, like, responding to this incident? And he's like, I was in a tent playing Call of Duty. And all of a sudden, this bullet just flies out of nowhere through the tent, hits him. He's like, fuck, this is real. And it just cops him.
Playing Call of Duty. Should have taken this to the next level. It's game,
totally. What I really want to
technology.
What I really want to get from you guys is, Lehmo, you've done a ton of trips for the military.
Yep.
Troy, you've done 2, is that correct?
Yeah.
Interesting fact about Troy and I've got this really good photo for us that we'll put up on the screen too, is that this photo, I don't know if you've seen that from Troy, but that's him performing in East Timor in 2007. And if you zoom in onto the front of the car, that's me.
Oh, get stuffed.
Sitting there and watching him perform. First stand-up comedian I'd ever seen live. Anyway,
right.
I'd seen the scared, weird little guys.
So when can we for a second get your perspective on us?
Yeah.
Right. So when you're there with all your mates, you're on deployment in East Timor, and they say, "Oh, we've got Forces Entertainment is coming through." What are your and you read the lineup or whatever? What are your initial or what's the group's initial reactions to that?
First of all, a deployment is like a weird organism that all works together in the way that, like, morale. People talk about this all the time, like, how's the morale? And it's like a really hard thing to measure because there's full of lots of rumor. Yeah. And because there's so much secret stuff going on and there's, like, things that are happening, like, rumor is very damaging. So when we announced that there was a trip going on, we had heard 10 different lineups.
Oh, right.
First of all, that were happening. And because you came with Crystal from Zoo magazine.
No, I was going to. Apparently, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so I turned up and they had been told, now you can verify this sort of stuff, obviously. So they had been told they were going to get to have a beer during the. Now, the big deal is I'm told that they're allowed 2 beers on Christmas Day.
Yes.
And soldiers are allowed 1 beer during the AFL Grand Final.
I will just verify also that that's what we're allowed to have. But for about 2 weeks prior, the most tactical operations that we performed on that entire trip was getting more beers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, smuggling them into base any way we could in sandbags in the back of things or whatever, like anywhere ever. But yeah,
because and all their training would go into that.
Yeah.
So these guys were told, all right, comedy show, it's as big as Christmas apparently. You're going to get to have a beer. And the MC, the host of the show, is Crystal from Forsgard, who was in Big Brother, Zoo magazine,
more
FHM
commonly known
magazine.
to us as being on the back of the toilets, but yeah.
On the day of the show, the day I arrived, they're told, actually, you're not having beers anymore. and Crystal's not here, it's Troy Kinne. You're like, who the fuck's Troy Kinne?
Not my toughest wank, but it's still
but close.
So when we hear about these things are coming, so first of all, like, I'm at the bottom of the food chain, right? So I'm just private. We're out doing patrolling. We're actually doing all the work. The people who organize it, as we've all met, are just like these people from Canberra who are just like, yep, cool. So we don't hear anything at all, but they plan it months in advance, and we hear like a couple of days before. They're just like, you got to get on choppers and go to Bacau because there's this. Okay, what's going on? Are we gonna fuck something up? They're like, no, you got to get one beer and see Crystal. We're like, this is even better. But it comes at a really good point because...
By the way, no one was more disappointed than me that Crystal wasn't there instead.
So there's like so much weird like rumor going around, and we were talking about this before, just off this, that like fear and like stress kind of spreads through like a deployment really quick. Anytime there's something that happens when you're overseas, you're all sitting together as a group, and someone's like partner will like send them a letter or call them and just be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm fucking out of here. And they've got to stay on deployment. And the guys get around them, but then that sort of thing starts questioning everybody's home life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
So
it would.
There's this little thing that happens in between there. And just before you guys had arrived, we had Ashley Baker, a private from Bravo Company in Dili, literally out of the blue, go to the toilets in Timor, shot himself in the head, committed suicide on deployment.
Right.
We had to just crack on with our job. And
and I was told of that as well. Along pretty much the same sentence that I was told Crystal's not coming and they're not having beers.
And this guy's taking his own life as well.
We're really looking forward.
All the best for the comedy there,
that's
Troy.
what I said.
He did.
The boys are really in
to clear it up, he didn't take his life because he couldn't get a beer and Crystal wasn't coming.
No, it was because he heard Kinne was on.
I considered it. They had to stop me heading to the toilets.
Brilliant.
But that's is essentially what they said. They said, yeah, where's the comedian? Yeah, the boys are really in need of some laughs because we've had a bit of a tough time and guys commit suicide. And I'm like, jeez. I like, the plane was behind me. I just stepped off the plane. This is what I'm hearing before I go on stage.
So how was morale?
It was dire. You know? And because of the suicide thing, we were very sort of kept under wraps about if we could talk to people at home because the media weren't very interested in it.
Sure.
And this is the internet was a thing, but we weren't on social media, if that made sense. We didn't have smartphones. So then they took that away from us. They said, this has happened and you're not allowed to talk to anyone about it. And we're like, fuck, what's going on? Not the funniest thing about that, but when it first happened is because we civilians don't really understand how kind of like hungry we are for a bit of action. So we're just doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden through the radio nets, it's like shots fired. And we're like, we're fucking on here, boys. We are on here. And then all of a sudden it's like someone's been killed. And we're like, we're really on here, boys. Like this is on. And then you get that sort of like, oh shit, like something else has been really serious.
Yeah, wow.
And it just spreads like wildfire. So
because the soldier that was like sort of looking after me, I guess, I asked him that because, they're all anything happened. Like there was a door was jammed and they were fighting over who was going to get to open it because it's like something to do, just like, and I'm like, so I asked him, I said, are you guys like happy that there's, it's peaceful at the moment, or would you? And I didn't even finish the sentence, and he goes, oh, I wish some shit would go down. Yeah,
100%.
And he goes, think of it, it's you. It's like you writing all these jokes, and someone says you're not allowed to tell them. He goes, we've trained for this. I want to get in there.
Ironically, at the time we're peacekeepers. And all we want to do is to go to shit.
So it's funny you talk about the morale because the American troops have a name for the dude who's sleeping with their wives while they're away.
What? I've never heard this.
Have you not heard this?
No. What is it?
So it's Jody, right? It's the name of the dude that's sleeping with your partner while you're away. So you'll often hear them make jokes, American troops, about Jody. Oh yeah, well Jody's getting busy with your missus tonight. So it's a generic name for the person your wife's sleeping with while you're on deployment.
That's such a military thing to give a name to something else. So through every war, the soldiers have given a nickname to the combatants to sort of like dehumanize them a little bit.
Oh,
so
right,
like,
yeah.
In Vietnam, it was Charlie.
Yes.
So like Charlie's in the trees. That actually comes from the phonetic alphabet being Victor Charlie over the neighbor, which is VC. And then it just gets shortened to Charlie. And that's just like there's some sort of psychology that allows you to kill people better by doing that. but I think it works the same way if someone's sleeping with your partner. If it's not that, you know what I mean?
Because I remember when I my very first trip away, we were in the very first place I went was the base in Kuwait. And I was talking to it was an American base that the Aussies had a little corner of. And I was talking to some Americans, and they kept talking about making all these jokes about Jody. And they were all laughing.
And you had no idea
about Jody. And then I had to have some guy explain to me, oh, that's the dude that's fucking all our wives. So, wow, that Jody's a busy guy.
If you're enjoying this conversation and you want to hear more of it, the simplest thing you can do to help this whole thing out is to hit that subscribe button.
What's the difference between the American humour and the Australian humour?
Well, I'll say this at a higher level. I specifically remember that first base because the first show I did was for the Americans. The second show was for the Aussies the next night. For the Americans, they go, no political jokes, no religious jokes, no swearing, no disparaging the war effort, and the list was as long as your arm. And then I got to the Australian, and the show was okay at best. It was basically me doing a Steve Irwin impersonation for 15 minutes. They love that. And that was a cornerstone of my act at the time. And then it was a long time ago. And then I go to the Aussie base the next night, and I go, oh, the Americans, they had this, and that. And the guy in charge of the Aussies goes, you fucking go for it, mate. No restrictions here.
100%. Yeah. I do these trips now. And so I get to go on them, and I know the ins and outs of it too. So I went to the UK last year to do a trip for the Australians who are training the Ukrainians who are fighting the Russians, right? And so first of all, I'm like, what can I say? And they're like, just don't talk to the Ukrainians about like that you're gonna lose. Like that's their main thing. Like they get plucked out from the Ukraine, they go to the UK to get like this training, and then they just go straight back into the war.
Right, yeah.
Like it's pretty intense with them. And then you go with an interpreter and just hang around the base and talk to the Ukrainians, and they're like, fucking say whatever you want. Like the hierarchy thinks they wants to protect them against something, but the crowd wants something else. But because I was in the army, I walk into the trip, and because I used to be really low level when I was in the military, but now that I do comedy and I'm in this space, I hang around with all the fucking nerds from Canberra. And I'm like, I don't belong in this situation, right? So I walk in and they're like, do you want to meet the CSM, the company sergeant major of the whole trip? I said, yeah, sure, whatever. This guy walks out and I go, fucking dollard hack. We used to be privates together, and I've seen you piss in your mouth. And he's like, we don't talk about that anymore. And I'm like, well, I'm going on stage fucking tomorrow night. And he's like, please don't mention it. Anyway, like 10 minutes into the set, I'm like, you're CSM. Got robbed by prostitutes in Prague. Which the boys love.
Which is one of the great things about doing these trips, and you would have done this, Troy, as well, is because the military is very obedient of the chain of command. Right? People won't take the piss out of or laugh at people who are it's illegal. Up the chain. Yes.
You go to military prison. Yeah.
So that we can, though, as comedians. So as soon as we come out,
I love it.
I remember when I went to Timor at the end of 2008, the commanding officer there looked like the Fonz. And it was a real joke on base, but no one could fucking say anything because he was in charge. Anyway, he introduced me, and I said, oh my God, a dream come true. Introduced on stage by Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yeah.
And they fucking lost their minds.
Yeah.
Because they can't say it out loud, but to see someone else say it out loud, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Mate, I was in Kabul once with Mick Malloy doing shows, and Mick was on stage, and a two-star general, Australian, turned up late with two assistants, two women, sat in the front row, and Mick went to town about the three-way they must have been having, which is why they were late. And the troops are like, they're going, it's a two-star general.
Yeah.
But they were pissing themselves laughing. And I think it's great therapy for them to be able to have a laugh up the command chain.
I think I got set up for that once because all the guys hanging around with me said, oh, you got to, it was the last show of the tour of East Timor. You got to mention Lance Corporal, I reckon it was Williamson. He pissed himself or something. Right. And they said, if you mention it, he goes, he'll find it funny. They'll all love it. So, and I had a joke that sort of it could easily attach to. Yeah. So I said it and they all lost it, but in a way that they were using me as their vessel to hang shit on this guy because the guy and the people around him were like, "Oh God, I can't believe he's just mentioned that." So I was like taking the one for the team essentially. They were just using me to get the laugh that they couldn't have.
Yeah, damn. What's it like? When was your first overseas trip?
I think
Was
it was
it that
like-
one
I
that
think it
I
was
saw you?
2009, was it?
Yeah, and yours, Lehmo?
Was 2005 to Iraq and surrounding areas. But Iraq was amazing back then.
This is peak, like
Wow.
post September 11th. This is
And
very
you know,
fresh,
in,
like
Ba-
War
in
Central.
Baghdad then, so we were in Baghdad Christmas 2005, you could hear gunfire 24 hours a day.
Wow.
So you just hear pop, 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 like constant.
Mm.
And you would hear, and in the sky, there were 8 Black Hawk helicopters at all times, flying in pairs. So 4 pairs of Black Hawks constantly in the sky.
What-
And you'd hear just you'd hear explosions 4 or 5 times a day at least. Yeah.
You're not. When I was in the military, you get bit by bit, you learn more about this. Like you go there, they shave your head, then you get your uniform. Then
Yeah,
3 weeks later, you get your rifle. Then like all of a sudden, you're doing immersive training with explosions and all the rest of it. So by the time you get into that situation, it feels kind of like just feels fun. Feels kind of normal.
Yeah.
You don't have any of that.
No.
How does it feel?
You know what? When I first flew from Kuwait into Iraq, we flew into southern Iraq because we were going down to, we flew in to a place called Talil and we were going down to Camp Smitty, which was in southern Iraq. So I didn't know what to expect. And we were driving in Bushmasters for 2 hours and I was I remember being super anxious and the bulletproof vest feeling really heavy. Like I almost had to tear it off to breathe. But we got through that and then we got down to Camp Smitty and you just saw how cool everyone was.
Yeah.
Like they were just so chill.
Rugged, no shit.
And then we got a British
washing
Merlin.
everywhere.
We got a British Merlin chopper to Basra to do shows there. Me, Angry Anderson and Becky Cole. And the dudes in the chopper are all wearing fucking Santa hats. A couple had fake beards on. You know, and we fly the Merlin into Basra. We spend the night with the British troops. Remember they gave me hand-warming gel as a Christmas present. Weird gift.
Not many people understand just how cold the Middle East.
It's fucking freezing. But because my mood was always regulated by the mood of the people around me.
Yeah.
So because everyone else was so chill. Well, I remember we were doing a show in Afghanistan at camp what was our main?
Tarankout?
In Tarankout. And I was emceeing the show. This is in March 2009. And a guy comes over to me and says, look, we've got some intelligence that we think a bit of artillery is coming into the base, but we'll finish the show first. And I'm like, fucking what? We're going to finish the show first? He goes, yeah, it's been going so well. And I'm like, we don't want to wrap it up now, maybe, if there's bombs coming in? He goes, no, we'll be right. So the band plays like 2 more songs, and then I go, all right, thanks very much, everyone. I think we've got to wrap it up now. And then as soon as we finish the show, amazing coincidence, the siren goes off, right?
Yeah.
For everyone to go into the bomb shelter. And I was talking to 2 SAS guys, and the siren starts going for the bomb shelter, right? And this one SAS guy goes, oh, here we go. Incoming. It's like he's playing a comedy character.
Yeah.
But
Be
those
great
blokes
if it happened though.
couldn't have been more chill.
Yeah. Like-
That's which made me go, well, I don't give a fuck either if you're...
Yeah.
I'm with you. I assume you don't want to die.
Chris Franklin's
But how
got a great
great-
bit that you need these little. Did you have the laser pointers? So at night time, if there's incoming, they'll turn all the lights off, and you just have a red dot to see where you can go. Right? And he goes, there was risk of artillery, so everyone's using these things to get to the comedy show, which has 2 spotlights.
Yeah. Also, because it's in a valley.
Yeah.
So they say, well, the Taliban sit in the hills at night, and we don't want them to see into the base. And then, spotlight.
You've probably performed to the Taliban.
Well, I did a couple of shows for ISIS while I was there. They need a laugh. That line.
For the right,
it would be good
for
to be
the
able to
right
say,
dollar figure.
You know, everyone always asks, "What's the worst heckle you've had?" So, this prick with a missile launcher. Like,
Yeah.
heard that one.
A little bit of gunfire in the distance.
But if I could have, I wish that at my East Timor one. So we got there, and I was performing that night, and just with what you were saying of what's the culture shock like, I guess. I wish I had a day to settle in, because even when we had lunch straight away, everyone's got machine guns on their table.
Yeah.
And even that for me was like, this is a different environment than I'm used to, you know. I'm normally like, oh, can you make sure they're not drinking too much?
Yeah. But I was always, if the guys would chill, I was chill. And I never, ever saw a member of our Defence Force uptight or panicking. Because we're on the bases, you know, mate, with this one, we were in Kabul driving from Karga, where we had a base, which is like north, eastern Kabul, on the outskirts of town. We were driving back from there. We'd done a gig there overnight in like fucking -10. It was so cold. Snow everywhere in Kabul. It's beautiful in the wintertime. And we're driving back. So we're in a Bushmaster sitting down, and there's 2 gunners standing up in the bush. So we just see their legs, right? Anyway, we just hear this guy yelling out. We hear this gunner here yell out, "Bottle of water." And one of the guys passes him a bottle of water. And we knew it was things were getting a little bit tense. And we get back to base. We said, "What happened?" He goes, "A car drove up next to the Bushmaster and sat on the edge of the car and wouldn't leave."
Yeah.
He was going, fuck off. And the car wouldn't leave. So then I said, "So what's going through your head?" Mind you, this bloke's about 22. Right? I said, "What's going through your head?" He goes, "I could have shot him, but that was probably an overreaction in the circumstances."
Yeah.
But he could have had 100 kilograms of explosives in the car and killed us all. He goes, "I could have shot a flare off the front of the vehicle," but he goes, "That was probably an overreaction as well."
Yeah.
So he goes, "I just called for a bottle of water," and he said he threw the bottle of water as hard as he could onto the bonnet of the car, and then the car drove off.
That's the level of...
That was it. It goes,
Yeah.
bullet, flare, water bottle.
we could bring that into Vic Poll. I think that would help out a lot of things. When you guys come over to a trip like that, or you have any civvies in general, it's exciting for us because we just want to show you shit.
Yeah.
We're like,
Oh,
do you want to hold this? Do you want to hold that? Do you want to put a
Well,
helmet
that's
on?
when you get so comfortable and you realize, oh, they are just like me. Like, I don't have to hide the fact that I really want to hold a machine gun and get a photo.
Well, I've got a good photo of you, Troy, which you shared just earlier. Look at this. Is
entering the wank bank folder.
note the rounds of machine gun, belt-fed machine gun. Sunny's on.
Someone's fresh from the gym.
This is before AI existed, let me point out.
Troy, you're absolutely jacked there.
Yeah.
Off the
Imagine
set
if I had a
off the set
flex.
of Predator.
How like this is like social media is a thing, but it's not a thing like it is in our industry now.
Yeah.
But you still want those photos.
Oh yeah.
You want to take something back.
I give you an inside story of how I became a hero because of these photos.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the guns you see there. So there was a lady, I don't remember her name, soldier, who, and this is again with the camaraderie of the soldiers, where this lady doesn't realize she was actually doing them a favor. All the soldiers hated this lady. I don't know why.
She was a soldier too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And obviously
Was she an
higher
officer?
ranking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So when I got those photos,
That was the whole thing.
she was helping me put on the gear and stuff and handing me the weapons while my mate, another performer there, took the photos. And when she did that, her weapon was in a truck because we were all about to leave. And then the truck leaves with her weapon.
Fuck, that's
Biggest rule.
I just got anxiety.
Can't be without your weapon.
Bad.
Anyway, so, and all the guys, including the guys that helped me and were sort of my bodyguards, whatever you call them, my minders, they all had
They're definitely minders, by the way.
Yeah.
and they're there to make sure you don't fucking break something.
Yeah.
They're not protecting you from the outside.
They all had a secret frequency on their walkies, whatever, called, I can't remember the number of it, but they would say orangutan because this lady resembled an orangutan.
Jesus.
So they would say orangutan and they'd get on, they'd talk about her and bitch about her because they couldn't stand her. Anyway, when it spread around that, oh, she didn't have her weapon, she's going to get in big trouble, and the look on your face means it's a lot of trouble. They were like clowning at me and say, you've got to say that, because she was coming up to me saying, can you just say that I was helping you? And she goes, you've got to say that she
like to insert that the army does love a
she
cover-up.
ignored her weapon, just like, and I'm like, well, that's the truth or whatever. So I just told the truth, and she got in trouble, and I was like a hero to these guys. The point where I think they were all
you brought the group together.
yeah, well, they were all planning on getting orangutan tattoos for their thing. They're like, you should get a tattoo as well. I'm like, oh, I'd love to be involved in this. So I can explain the story.
That's how sick it becomes. You get a tattoo of the person you hate. As a lifelong reminder of what's going on.
What did you shoot? Did they get you shoot something?
Not that day of the photo, but we did get to shoot machine guns.
You country boy though, you would have shot stuff in the past, or
No, not really. I mean, I had shot like a rabbit shooting once with my dad and his,
but never
his
a
friend.
belt-fed
But
machine gun.
No,
Yeah,
that was amazing.
That's good, isn't it?
But never a belt-fed machine gun. Jarryd.
Yeah. At the end of a training exercise, what they'll do with everybody is, so this is how silly the government is. They said it's easier that you just use all the ammunition instead of bringing it back and counting it. If it comes back in bits and pieces.
Well, I
Yeah.
witnessed that because I was not good at it. Like trying to aim for the target was nowhere near it. And the guy with me with the just a handheld pistol one, he was like basically. And by the way, the guys were fighting over who was going to come with me because they, like you said, they just want a bit of action as well.
Yeah.
And he basically said to me, he goes, just have a couple of shots with this one, not really worth it. And it was because he wanted me to leave some in the clip. So he just goes, oh, I'll get rid of those for you. Like straight in the bullseye. And I'll foam. Yeah.
We get into extended line after an exercise, and it's like the funnest thing ever. It's called a cook-off. So, right, we're going to cook off all this ammunition. And I'm thinking, like, why are we doing this? They're like, if we don't use all this ammo, we're not going to get as much ammo next time. I said, we didn't even use this amount.
Right.
It's like council workers, right? So we just line up in a line and just shoot nothing. It's like that scene from Predator where it's just like, and I don't know if you guys have ever cut down a tree with a machine gun.
Oh, wow.
It feels
hang on.
good.
Yeah.
Let me
It's my preferred
think.
method.
No, I haven't.
Because I have got video of me when I was shooting it, and my friend Amber filmed me, and I didn't know the video was being taken, so it's a bit embarrassing because you see me fire it, you go, do, and then the next one, I giggle like a schoolgirl. I'm just like, and I wasn't doing it on purpose. I had no idea someone was filming me, and I've never heard that noise come out of me before.
Soldiers do that too.
Yeah.
So we have a saying for it. It's called having a battle boner.
Yeah, well, that's what it was.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything that's extremely exciting or some form of like destruction on a higher level. It usually happens with explosives, like if you're throwing grenades or shooting sort of rocket launchers or that sort of stuff. You'd be like, whew, you'll get off. One, because the blast pressure does affect your brain and kills brain cells. And then you walk off and you get a little shudder and you're like, oh, I've got a battle boner.
It is a big rush.
Awesome. Yeah.
Been on the range and just blowing shit up. It's so cool. Hey, we were on the range at Tarankout one day, just having the best time, just shooting everything. It's fucking great. And there's like an old bus down that you could shoot at in the range. And then while we're shooting, an Apache?
Yeah, like an attack helicopter.
Yeah. Floats not above us, but above, like, just next to us, where there was an Afghan farmer out in a field, just like literally next to the range. He's just doing his thing, but the Apache was like basically above him, and they just sunk half a dozen rounds into this bus that's out on the range. And we're like, this is fucking so good.
That's even for the military, that's quite loose. Like that doesn't happen in Australia.
Oh, right. Well, that was
The Australian ranges are quite regulated, obviously, because they're at the back of like industrial areas.
I
but
feel
that's
like
crazy.
once you've been in Afghanistan for a while, like a lot of these guys were, as we've perhaps since come to learn through certain media reports, that things loosen up a little bit.
They certainly do.
I just remember why we weren't allowed to film when we shot the guns is that was when we were at the camp where the special forces soldiers were, and they weren't allowed to have their face on camera.
You couldn't show their faces.
So that's why I didn't think I was being filmed, and she sort of snuck a video.
Oh, so you did you do a crime?
Hey?
You did a crime?
Yeah, I'm wanted if I go back there. That's why I can't go
Once
back.
again, in the scope
They've
of what
begged me
happened in
to
the
come
SAS. Ooh, look at that slide.
I used to love they go, no, they can't reveal their identity, the SAS guys. So who are all the guys with the beards? Oh, no, I don't know.
The Taliban.
No, that's just they've just got a different dress code.
But the stupid thing they did was, so at the gig we did from them, there was only about 20 of them sitting around a table. They said, yeah, so we got the musicians, then we'll finish with the comedian, and if there's time, we can go to the range and shoot guns. So I'm like, they're going, okay, so where are you from? Let's go.
Let's go.
So you did rifle, felt fed. You would have done a few trips. Have you done anything?
Guy-
Shot anything wild?
Not really.
Have you done an explosive?
No.
Grenade?
Nah. damn it. Disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
did that. Is it the flash grenades? That go, we did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That was
still
pretty
fun,
cool.
though.
That was cool. Yeah.
Grenade will change your life.
Yeah.
Because
but-
you
that'd
think
be
you
awesome,
think you
yeah.
can throw a ball
yeah.
Right.
until there's a lot of pressure.
Hey?
You know, like you pick up a ball and you just like
Yeah,
kind of throw
true.
it. It's very natural.
Yeah.
Then you go like that and you're like, I've
Ah.
forgotten
Wow.
everything about this.
Yeah.
And you got to like this. And there will be stuff that happens when you do grenade ranges. You do them out of these trenches that are in little Zs. So, and if somebody just cooks it, as in like you just go to
Yeah.
throw it and for like 1 in a million chance it
Shanks it.
just shanks it or it hits something and just comes back. The instructor, everyone's asshole just goes, "Pfft," and then someone just grabs them, dude, and just ditches them into another part of the
Yeah.
zigzag trench,
I did.
and it blows up, and it's funny as.
Right, it's funny.
Everything sucks
Oh,
in.
We love that.
I feel like the special forces guys, there was something. I mean, I might have put it in my head, but they did just seem mentally on another level,
Those,
both in focus and craziness.
You think
But
they have something about them. We did when we did a show in Tarrancout. We were filmed one of the shows we were filming for the project. So I was emceeing. I said at the start, if there's any special forces soldiers here, you might want to move to the sides of the room because we're filming. You don't want your identity to be revealed. And I remember waiting. And then thinking, and that was when I realised that special forces soldiers don't move; they just appear in different locations.
Wow.
like Batman.
It's like, hang on, they are okay. Yeah. And then, but one bloke came right down to the front, sat in the front row, and pulled a balaclava down over his face.
He would have thought that was the
gun on his
funniest
lap
thing.
and balaclava watching the show. That is not what you want to see in your front row.
Did that make it onto the project?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Damn
The,
it. I
yeah.
remember the
We
good
did
old
some- we
days
did
when the
some
media
great-
loved us.
We did some great specials on the project with the
Yeah.
troops.
The camp I was at where I performed for them, there was like an outdoor kitchen type facility, and there was a fridge that had just cans of Coke on the top 2 shelves. And I was like, you know, these guys look like specimens of the ultimate man. I'm like, I can't believe you guys drink Coke. I didn't think that'd be in your diet. And he said, no, they're just there for temptation. He goes, each day you go without grabbing one, you're mentally tougher. And I was like,
Did you
really?
believe that?
well, I did. And I thought, I'm going to do that when I get home.
That guy is 100% winding you up.
Yeah, right.
That is not true. Have you been living your life believing that?
Yeah, well, I
That
went
is
home.
not true.
I got
That is
I got a
not
can
true.
of Coke and thought I'm going to take it home and do that. And on the way home, got stuck in traffic and I just fucking drank it. I said, I'll do it tomorrow.
And that's
I'll
why
become a commando
It
tomorrow.
starts tomorrow.
and that's why everybody knows who your face is.
Yeah.
You didn't make it. What was the? I want to talk about starting comedy because I always like this about comedy's hard, right? I've been in the army. That's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I talk about with my comedian friends. They're like, "Oh, the army must have helped you, be a comedian because
Braver on stage.
And I'm like,
stuff.
not really. No,
Yeah, right.
that's not at all. Where was your first gig?
My first stand-up gig was at Bolt's Cafe in Adelaide on the 1st of December, 1993. Fucking hell, nearly 33 years ago. Jesus.
Yeah, wow.
And it went really well. I fucking killed. It was
90
amazing.
93 is pre-YouTube and everything.
Yeah. It was so, and then I just fell in love with it then.
Mm.
And got into it. But I loved all that pre-YouTube, pre-social media era. The joy of turning up to a gig and just doing it and then leaving.
Mm.
And then it just became a memory.
Yeah.
There's something so pure about that. I fucking miss
And
it.
if you get somewhere, as in popularity-wise or whatever,
Yeah.
it's so pure because it's
Yes.
just based on live gigs.
Yeah.
It was based purely on how you were performing
Yeah,
in those
yeah.
rooms, as opposed to how cleverly you could cut together a promo
A
video
TikTok, yeah.
or a
Mm.
TikTok.
Now,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to start comedy now. Like I've been
Mm.
10 years this year. Even when I first started, there was only a handful of guys doing like online stuff. Like you were
Mm.
like crushing it. There's like fucking, Chopper and all the rest of it. But the starting comedy now, all of the kids are like, how do I get online?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? They're
That's what
thinking about that before
I
they can
feel
do
for, I
five.
feel for them now. They turn up with their fucking tripod
Mm.
and their camera, and it just makes me sad watching them set it up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, where's the joy? It felt like years ago. It felt like you were running away to the circus. Didn't it?
Yeah.
There's like no rules here.
Yeah.
We just get on stage, just book another gig. And now it's a business from day one.
Yeah, it has to be.
And I
Especially
feel for them.
when there's no phones or anything. So whatever you said, if someone got offended in the room, that's where it stayed.
Yeah, that's where it stayed. I got my first mobile phone 5 years into my comedy career.
Damn.
So that's where you used to get a landline and ring venues and book on a landline.
Shit.
I reckon Kramer started before phones existed.
Yeah, so definitely found out about that. The big theme in the people who serve in the military is like courage. And like you quit your job as an accountant.
Yeah.
Like you were doing well. Like I guess.
Well,
like, it's like
like,
as
you
far
know.
as like society's metrics would
I
look at it.
had been an accountant for 10 years and I could have stayed in that job and I'm sure I would have had a fine career, you know.
But like what made you throw it in?
Wouldn't have been particularly inspiring.
Yeah.
Because it's a big call to
Oh.
make. That's a
What's
massive
that?
call to make. To
That's
quit
what?
that. A massive call to make.
It was a big call. But to me, it wasn't a big call at the time because I
So-
just loved
So
comedy
when you
so
were,
much.
Yeah, when you were accounting, you were still doing gigs at night for a
Yes.
while. Yeah.
So I was an accountant and a comedian for 7 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So remember I was a landscape gardening and I do gigs at night. And then I started doing a job with Mix FM Radio as one of the street team.
Oh, yeah,
The Mix
yeah,
FM
yeah.
Bachelors, we were called. There were 6
Yes.
of us. And I don't know what they were basing it on, if it was Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was big at the time or something, but each of us had our own little genre. Like I was the gardening guy. So there's a photo in the
Right.
paper. One was like the foodie. One like was music, and you just had CD. So in the Herald Sun, there's a photo of 6 of us, and I've just got a shovel. So,
This
But-
guy will bury you.
but I remember, so while I was doing that job, that's when I went to East Timor, and then I came
Right.
back and I was doing some mining camp gigs and stuff, and it got to the point where I'm now working more in stand up than the job. I'm getting out of it, so I quit the job and I'm just doing stand up. And the first day, I don't know if you remember yours, where you're a full-time stand-up comedian. You just wake up in the morning, just sit there and go, all right. I
There's
guess
nothing
I'll
to do.
write something funny down. I guess that's a day, is it?
What do I do now? This is weird.
Just stare at the phone. Come on. It's a bit of a panic situation.
How long did it take you from starting to making what you would probably recognize as a livable wage?
Yeah, right. What's the date today?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit like that. I quit in September 2001, and then I was lucky. I got a job in breakfast radio in July 2003.
Yeah.
So 2 years.
Yep. But I mean, you
it was,
started
but
in 93,
But it was
though,
9
right?
years. But it was 10 years into my comedy career.
Yeah.
If you go from the start. Yeah.
Because I'm 10 years in. I made my first livable wage last year, really. Before that,
Yeah.
it was just sleeping in tents and doing all the rest of it, right?
And I wonder if someone said to you when you're accounting, right, you can stop this and start doing stand-up, but you won't be making a living for 11 years. Do you reckon you'd do it? You probably. It sounds
That's the
horrific.
age-old question,
I just
right?
don't.
But it's
oh,
not.
you know what? I don't think. Which is the beauty of not knowing.
Yeah.
You'll just take a punt
Yeah.
Yeah.
on yourself.
Yeah. What
It
about
sounds bad, but it's like
What
if
about
you
you?
do it,
how long did it take for you?
I feel like it was about 6 or 7 years before I was like making money to survive.
Stop worrying
Yeah.
about food
Yeah,
and bills.
yeah.
You know, like they're still there, but you don't go, oh, I need this to work.
Yeah.
And then we're back there again now.
But then I feel like if you were like maybe a decade or so before you started, it seemed easier. Because I remember I drove Greg Fleet to a gig and he was telling me, he goes, I feel like after like my 5th gig, I was making like a living from it. I'm like, Jesus.
Although I feel like there were not as. I mean, Fleety was pretty good too, but there just weren't as many comics.
His means for living might be less than
True. I mean, he slept on a cardboard box probably.
Yeah.
What does a bag of heroin cost?
I wasn't going to say. I was thought about saying that. I was like, I'm not going to bring
Electricity
that
bills
up.
are pretty cheap if you sleep outside.
Bag of heroin and a litre of milk. That'll get me through the day.
So when something like these trips come up, because like the struggle is so long and it's so real, like I know for me with my journey, whereas I started here and then when they finally said like, do you want to go on one of these trips? For me, it was that full circle and I felt like I'd made it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like the
right.
first time
Yeah.
ever that I felt like I'd made it. Because of that, not many people understand that part. I was talking to you guys, the crew earlier, and we were watching this sort of thing, and I was like, this is so good, man. I slept in my car for a year to even have the punt at doing something
Yeah.
like this. Do you know what I mean? That struggle is so real that for me, when I got onto these entertainment trips, I was like, you know what? I've fucking done this.
And I feel like
Like
you've
you,
got
everyone
the
else,
best
right?
attitude, and I hope you keep it and just the joy in you. Because I remember, like, you can get used to it and take for granted what you've done
Yeah,
and
yeah.
accomplished. Like, I remember going to the Comics Lounge before, like, I'd probably done 2 gigs, never at the Comics Lounge, first time there. And you first go in the Comics Lounge, it's like seats 500 people. And I was a Friday night, and I said to myself, if I could just do a gig here on a Friday night, I'd feel like I've made it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And like now, they'll text me on a Friday night, hey, we got a spot for you. I'm like, it's a bit fucking cold. You know, you move the goalpost so fast. Which I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's probably a bad thing mentally.
I found an old notebook that I used to write jokes in, and I like really big on goals and all the rest of it. And I saw like an old goal that I found when I was 3 years into comedy. And it said, if I could sell 50 seats in anywhere in Australia, I would be happy forever.
Wow.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And like I've gone past that, which is really
Yeah.
nice. But it's like the same thing. It's like you get used to it. So I don't know what I'd like your insight on this, being older than me in the game. Is do you then have to move your goals, or do you move your expectations, or is it more of a grateful thing?
You shift your expectations.
Yeah.
But if
I wish it was more of a grateful thing, but you do.
you
just-
shift your
yeah,
expectations.
yeah.
But if you're going to get really philosophical, it's about where's true happiness come from,
Yeah.
Jarryd? That's
Where
that.
does true happiness come
Well,
from? Leo?
famously, Jim Carrey in 1994 made Dumb and Dumber, Mask, and Pet Detective
1 year.
in 1 year in 1994, and he said he got to the end of the year and was the saddest he'd ever been
Wow.
because he'd always said to himself, "Once I make it as a movie star, that's it."
Mm.
And then he made it as a movie star and went, "Why am I still sad?"
What's the lesson then?
That's the lesson.
What is the lesson?
What's the lesson? Just he clearly wasn't rich enough. Just get more money.
I guess the lesson is money doesn't solve all your problems, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It'd solve a couple.
It'd solve a couple.
I've got something I need to
Take a bit of stress out of it.
I've got something I need to bail you up about, Lehmo.
Oh, yeah, please.
While I've got you in the room,
He's back
right
into the
now,
wank bank.
which is yeah. I've got a bone to pick with you.
Is this me saving someone's life?
I've got a bone to pick with you, Lehmo.
Yeah.
I believe this is a bio of yours. You haven't written it.
Oh, dude, this is beautiful, this new tonic that I'm drinking. Oh, smarter energy, it sure is. Wow, that's yummy. Anyway, Jarryd, sorry, what were you saying?
Wish we had time, Jarryd. But
This is a bio for you. I believe it's written by a company that you work for in a corporate space.
Oh, yes.
But I just want to like hit you up for it
he would
while
have
I'm here.
had a say in whatever this is.
No, these are all completely independently written, these.
Just interesting from my point of view, but it says
Yeah.
Lehmo has also become Australia's #1 combat comic,
Yeah.
having completed several tours. I'd just like to say, I might have you there, just a little bit. I've got to. Have you ever
sound cool, a combat
masturbated in a
comic.
45-degree porta potty?
Well, funny you should bring that up. Because if you go back to my Instagram and squint through the blur, squint through the
Yeah,
pixelation.
I'm just worried about what other photos he's going to bring up for you.
Someone gave me the moniker, someone else described me as a combat comic.
Yeah.
Someone else did. And then, so I thought, oh, that's cool. I'll use that in a bio.
Mm.
I'd never put #1 personally.
Yeah, right.
I never did. But what had happened is because I've done quite a few trips.
Would you have done the most of Australian comics?
I think you have. I
Really?
think that's why.
Well, I've got my, I got a service medal, civilian service
I was
medal
about to bring that up
Oh,
next.
wow.
last
Yeah,
year. Anyway, and then, so I think one part of a bio said I'd done all these trips. It might have said more trips than any other comedian or something. And then another trip and someone had put them together. So I never said I was the #1 combat comic. But I'll happily take it.
Somebody sent me through to be like, do you know this guy? And I'm like, I actually do. He's a good bloke.
Someone else wrote that fact.
So
I mean, objectively true. But
you've been awarded a medal from the Defence Force.
yes,
What medal is it?
it is the
The fact that you don't know
I've
makes
got
it
to-
so Defence Force, because I've got some medals that I don't know what they're called.
I've got to remember the title of it, but it's essentially a service medal for a civilian.
Yep.
So it means I've spent 45 days inside Operation Slipper
Mm-hmm.
in the Middle East. So 45 days being all my trips added up inside the Operation Slipper zone.
Yeah, in fairness, so you've probably worked harder than some people that do have that medal. Like if you've been there and you were processing people's pay in an air conditioned somewhere.
It's funny when
No shade to them. Appreciate your service.
Because you
but-
go through all the bases and everyone there pretty much is on that whatever. So as an entertainer, you see way more
Mm.
than everyone else because you get to see every single base.
Yes.
Oh, and it's such a fantasy camp for pretending you're in the army. when I went
Yeah.
to East Timor, that was amazing.
But we had to come out from like the actual bases to go to like an operating
Yeah,
base. So
right.
we were in what was called an FOB, which is a forward operating base. We built it out of a burnt out school because the school had a soccer field and the soccer field could be used as a helipad. So like
Right, yeah.
in the violence that happened in East Timor, we just it was empty, occupied the place, sandbagged it up, engineers came on, put on a roof. Like that's where that's where the soldiers are at. And that place is just like stinky and full of boots and full of weapons. The places you guys go are all like the people there have been like aircon.
Well, where were we?
Yeah.
Where did I perform? It was Bacau, wasn't it? Where
Yeah.
but you weren't based there. You came to that.
No, we just got the call. Like you got to get
Yeah.
on these Blackhawks. So we're
But
like,
that
"Why?"
was like it was a broken down building. Steven Spielberg would jizz his pants at that set. It like looked exactly like something out of Saving Private Ryan.
And do you know what?
Yeah.
That was Flash. Compared to like the satellite ones
really?
or whatever. Yeah, we had to go. That was where the boss was.
Yeah.
Like the guy, the major lived there.
It was a building with only half walls and no roof, but people still went in there like it was a proper house.
Yeah,
Or, let's get inside. You know, that's where it's-
where it's safe.
But I remember in the morning there was like 2 sinks outside with a mirror, and all the soldiers had to. It was like a rule: you have to shave
Gotta
every
shave.
day. So there's kids who were like, 18 years old, not a hair on them, just like with a razor, because they have to do it.
no hot water.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well. That's a myth in the military. They say you got to shave every single day. And we're like, why? They're like, it's to boost morale.
Yeah, right.
It's like nothing shitter than
Yeah.
out bush.
I guess,
and
when they're
shaving.
lining up, it's just everyone chatting and that, isn't it? I
Yeah, it
guess.
used to be something that a lot of stuff in the military exists from like older days, like drill. The reason march and drill is that's how they used to do musket formations around,
Yeah, right.
for example. And these things like no long hair, so then it doesn't, you don't get
Yeah.
lice and all that sort of stuff. And it just keeps going on.
I remember the guy, my minder, Fish, just when we were talking about morale and stuff. This only just occurred to me now. His girlfriend was a soldier who was higher ranked than him. So he had to call her ma'am and like really.
Oh, that's so good.
It was amazing, yeah.
That's called a kink.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That happens a lot of when we were doing our trips. There would have been way more men than women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Now they've definitely changed that around.
And it was like, it felt weird to see a female soldier.
yeah, imagine it for us.
Yeah, right.
We'd be like, ugh. I was in a job that women weren't allowed to be in until after I discharged. They brought women in. And I was on base.
Discharging quite a bit by the sounds of it.
I was in the army the day that they announced it was going to happen. Like we were on barracks in Townsville and they said, you got to go to the auditorium. And we're like, why, what's going on? Once again, we're like, we're fucking, it's happening, boys. We're going somewhere, North Korea. Like, the rumors are going around. And we sat down there and we're like, all right, who are we fucking up? And there was some politician there and we're like, this is weird. And they're like, right, men, you might have been hearing in a bit of chat in the media. We'll be having females joining the infantry.
Wow.
And one guy just goes, no, and walks out. And that,
No.
and then the commanding officer who would have normally been like, fucking, what are you doing? Sit down. He goes, understand you're upset. I understand this is big news.
It's a big change for everyone.
Society's moving forward, and as a military, we need to be representative of the society in which we serve. And the guys go, yes, it's fine. And then they had brought 2 females from the Canadian military who had been in the infantry for a long time to give us a PowerPoint presentation about how periods worked.
Oh, wow.
They said, right, here's a PowerPoint presentation about women. and guys had notepads and pens.
Oh.
We would go, what the hell's going on?
Well, wait. And then did you have to put a condom on a banana?
I did it with my mouth. But then and they gave us the rest of the day off. So that happened at 1100 hours, and then 12:30 they knocked us off just to think about it. And,
I mean, that's such a male thing.
we
you
drove.
just learn about periods, take the day off. Let it soak in.
That's it. It's too much, guys. We get it. If anyone needs counselling after the period lesson,
Your training did not prepare you for this.
We drove home and everyone went back to their respective partners, who were women. And they, what are you doing home early? And they're like, what's wrong? Did something happen at work? They're letting women into the infantry, and they're like, oh, with you guys? They're like, sit down, take your boots off. Like, they were more shocked than the rest of us. And it's now people, it's like a lot different, but people would just like form couples within the military, and you get these military couples. And we had a show recently, 2 people in the front row, fucking idiots, sitting in there. You guys together? Yep. Where did you meet? In the armory.
in the
Like, beg your
armoury.
pardon? Like, yeah, we work together, and like, okay, what rank are you? It's like, I'm this. What rank are you? I'm not. Like, the lady was like, I'm an officer, and it's like fucking boom, and everyone in the crowd's like, oh, that's like a real. I wouldn't say it's a no-no.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what do you even talk about? How do you mix? Like, it's just disgusting.
I have just on the sense of humour thing. I've got one more for you before we wrap up. In Kandahar, when that base was rocking, the Kandahar base, there were 30,000 people on that base. Crazy when you think of it. 30,000.
Jesus.
It's like Warrnambool,
Yeah.
but less dangerous. And it's right next to Kandahar Airport. And they would get a bomb a day come into that base. Every day, a bomb would come into that base. And I remember, and the Aussies had a little tiny corner of that base called Camp Baker, which had the only bit of grass on the whole base. And I remember saying to one of the Aussies, he's bothered by that? A bomb every day comes into the base? And he goes, mate, the bombs are so shit, they'd have to literally land on your fucking head to kill you. Not worried in the slightest. And then another thing about that base, so the Aussies had 150 Aussies, 200 maybe at Camp Baker, 30,000 in the rest of the base. That base, they said, do not leave Camp Baker, which is the little Aussie section, at night. Way too dangerous. And I felt, I reckon, more threatened or more fearful walking outside that base at night by myself than I did anywhere else in the Middle East. Just because the stories they told you about the shit that goes on that base, like, not good.
Some of the like American ships, for example, an aircraft carrier will have 5,000 people on a ship.
Oh my God.
That they're so big that you won't know there's other people there, that little gangs get formed. And like the Latinos hang together, and like the black guys and the white guys, they have their own little stuff going on, and they're like, you don't come near this part, little societies form and all the rest of it. I've heard a rumor that you get a brief before you go to some of the big American bases in the Middle East that the men need to watch out because the female American Marines will kind of like jump you
Oh, really?
to have sex with you.
Oh, God.
And you need to carry a whistle around. And I'm like, I don't know a man in the world who's blown that whistle. I would just be like,
Got a feeling that story gets told at the recruitment meetings.
Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, mate.
much.
It was absolutely awesome. Cheers.
Thank you. It's great.